Hey everyone, happy April Fool's Day. One of my favorite things about April Fool's Day is that for the rest of the year, I have a hard time telling jokes because people believe me when I tell jokes and sometimes they interpret it the wrong way. So I'm really taking advantage of today to tell all the jokes that I've ever wanted to tell without leaving the wrong impression. When I was in school, I was working on my PhD. I had a classmate and I had played a joke on him, and he got very upset about it. And what had happened was one day during class, our professor wrote down an equation on the board, and it involved the natural log of 2. And the equation described the probability of somebody guessing an encryption key, and he wanted us to put that into our calculator to see for ourselves just how low this probability was. And I didn't bring my calculator that day, and I asked my classmate if I could borrow his cell phone to enter it into his cell phone calculator. And he told me, I'm sorry, I don't have a natural log button on my calculator. And on the board, I looked, and the only way the natural log was used was that it was a natural log of 2. And I knew what the natural log of 2 was. It was 0.6931. I knew it because when I was an undergraduate, I had written some computer programs to calculate various constants, including pi, including Euler's number, natural log of 2, square root of 2, and a number of other constants like that. So I knew what it was, and I borrowed his calculator, and I said, don't worry, I know a secret way to do natural log. And I got the right answer, and my classmate was very impressed, and he asked me to show him, and I told him I can't show you that. It's kind of top secret. I'm working on other ways to find natural logs in my thesis. I kind of lied to him. I wasn't, but I lied to him about that. And then after we finished that problem, I was still in his calculator mode in his phone, but I put 911 into its calculator to make it look like I was going to call 911. And then I pretended to talk to 911, saying that there was a fire in the building, and he chased after me for the phone. And then finally I told him it was all a big joke, and I showed him the calculator. I went, hey, what's 911 times 911? And I asked him to guess the number, so that way he could see that it was still in the calculator mode. But he got all panicky, and then he never wanted me to touch his cell phone again. And I think he took it the wrong way. But although 911 was probably a little bit too far, I should have pretended to call something else, maybe 411 or 811 or something like that. I don't, for 811 is what you call to report excavation or something like that. Whatever the case is, I think it went a little bit further than I had hoped it would go, is what I'm trying to say. I had another friend of mine, he and I got into an argument over something one time, and then a couple weeks later, he was shopping on eBay, and he accidentally had a cell phone that he ordered sent to me by mistake. I think he had lent me his computer to do something at one point, and the computer remembered my address, and now he got all panicky and asked for his phone back. And I looked, and the phone was worth about $300, and I told him I'll give it to you back for $100. And he got all upset. I really didn't want to get money off of him. I was hoping to extract a favor out of him, actually. He had known a girl that I wanted to know, and I was hoping he could introduce us. I didn't want any money to return the phone back to him. I was hoping that would open a dialogue, but instead he shut down completely and stopped talking to me. And then he got very upset and told everybody that I stole his cell phone. I gave it back to him eventually, but it wasn't my intent to get him upset. I was hoping to open a dialogue so that we could do something about the girl I wanted to meet. And then sometimes I tell jokes in order to open up a conversation. So where I work, we have a very big open field, but unfortunately, we have a lot of street lamps like that. I say unfortunately because I love to take astrophotography of the sky, and at night they turn on the lamps, obviously. And one day I had asked one of the security people at my office if they could turn off the lights for a few minutes so I could take some photographs. I didn't think there was a good chance they would do it for me, but I asked anyway because I wanted to spread knowledge, the awareness of so that people know that I love to view outer space, and hopefully I can meet somebody who shares similar hobbies. And I shouldn't have put it that way. I was like, I should have told the security guy, it'd be nice if somebody could turn off the light. And instead of asking for him if he could turn off the lights, I probably put the joke in the wrong way, and he got very puzzled over that, and he told a few of my coworkers and my manager, and they all got very puzzled. And make a long story short, the joke spread a little bit further than I had hoped, and that's that. Sometimes part of the reason I tell jokes is to delay answering something because I want to give myself time to think. Part of the problem with people talking to me and asking me questions is that sometimes, even if I know the answer, it is stored in my head in such a bizarre way, and I have to kind of translate it almost. See, I suffer from autism, so this is one of the symptoms, is that even though I might know something like the back of my hand, in my head, it's not stored as English, and I have to translate it. And sometimes that takes me a lot more time than people have the patience for. They get very, jittery. One of my big fears when I'm driving is I'll get pulled over by a police officer, and he wants to know what I'm doing that day, and, where I'm going, why I'm in this bizarre town, if it's far away from my hometown. And sometimes I need to think. Because even though I know all these answers, it's stored in my head in some bizarre language. And by bizarre language, I don't mean it's like in Chinese or Polish or Japanese. What I mean is it's kind of stored in some kind of code or pictures, and I have to kind of translate it for the officer, and sometimes he doesn't have the few moments to listen. So I tell him a joke instead, and he takes it the wrong way. I've learned that maybe I should just tell people, give me a second. I have but unfortunately, sometimes people throw questions like a million a minute, and that can drive me nuts sometimes. And then I tell jokes that get taken the wrong way, which is really unusual to some people, especially people who don't understand autism. Sometimes I literally have to open, I'm sorry I have autism, give me a second to collect my thoughts. And then I tell the story, instead of telling a joke and just getting it taken the wrong way. But it's April 1st, and I'm really celebrating by telling all the jokes that I can today, because I know they're going to be taken in a better light than they usually are. Thanks for watching.